This is Hannibal from thehannibaltv.com, and I'm with 2019 Cauliflower Alley Club Women's Honoree Bambi. How are you doing today? You're getting the big award this weekend. It must be pretty good for you.
Yes, I'm very proud and very honored to be here, and it's just been a thrill to come back and see a lot of people that helped me get in the business and get me started, and I just feel really honored that they chose me to give the award to.
And you had some interaction with the fabulous Moolah in your career. Any thoughts on her? She's a very controversial character these days.
Yes, in fact, last year here at the CAC, they had a panel discussing all the rumors that floated around, and I never was trained by Moolah, but I was trained by Joyce Grable, who went to Moolah school, and my era was all the Moolah's girls, Judy Martin, Leilani Kai, Peggy Lee Leather, I could go on and on, Wendy Richter. And so when I heard about all the controversy, I wanted to speak out on it because I felt like I knew the truth. And even though a lot of the girls might not have liked her, some liked her, some didn't like her, the rumors weren't true. And so we set out on a little mission to try to bring the truth to the surface. So that's my interaction with her.
But there are some things that are true about the women's wrestling industry, more so in your day, but it's still around. The ladies that sometimes do favors for promoters and various wrestlers sometimes get the bigger push.
I don't know that. I mean, I suppose so, I guess. Maybe. I have no idea. I know that I worked real hard for what I did, and maybe that's why I didn't get a big push. But I got into wrestling because I love wrestling, and it's unfortunate if that is true and that is the case, but I don't think anyone pushed anyone into that. I think that each wrestler made their own decision. If that is the case, I won't dispute it. That's none of my business, but it's unfortunate if that is how girls got to the top.
What's the favorite match you had in your career?
Oh, wow. There's a few. My favorite match as far as living a dream would be wrestling at the Atlanta Omni, because when I was a kid, that's where my dad used to take me. And so when I wrestled there, it was a moment of, wow, when I was a kid, I dreamed about this, and now here I am. It wasn't my favorite match, but I'd have to say my favorite match or feud would have to be against Peggy Lee Leather. I think she's probably one of the toughest girls. I learned a lot from her, and that was probably one of the favorite people I like to wrestle.
And what was the favorite promotion that you worked for over the years?
I'd have to say WOW right now, Women of Wrestling, is what I work for now. And I've always, for 30 years, just like what you said, sometimes the girls didn't get the push. I probably didn't realize they were doing favors behind the door. But for whatever reason, we didn't get the recognition that I felt like we deserved. So I always had a dream of having an all-women's group and be legitimate and let the girls be just, their show, not share it with the men. And so that's what we're doing now. So I have to say that that's my baby. That's what for 30 years, me and David McLean worked to get, and we're on Access Television now. And so I'm really proud of that. Besides that, I'd have to say working for NWA, because I grew up watching that. Ole Anderson was my favorite, and he actually booked me. And so that was a highlight of my career as well.
Did you get along with Ole? Because he was very to the point, and a lot of people took offense to how blunt he was.
I had a different situation with him. I was about 10 years old when my dad and I met him, and he was always nice to us. And if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have been so attracted to wrestling. And I like the bad guys. I never liked the good guys. And he really changed our lives. So from age 9 or 10 years old to, I got into the business, he was a big influence. So I don't know that side of him. I've heard stories, but he's always been super nice to me.
I see. And did you ever get the chance to wrestle for WWE in any matches, even one-off?
Never wrestled for them. Never wrestled for them.
Were you in part of the WOW that was on in the late 90s as well? David McLean, I think, was also involved in that.
Yep. In fact, Peggy Lee and myself were the head trainers when he did that in the year 2000. And I was a big part of that. I've always been David's right-hand girl. And I've always been. In fact, years ago in the early 90s, he had a group. I was never in Glow. And he split from Glow because it was we felt more of a comedy act than real wrestling. And so he went to a group called POW, Powerful Women of Wrestling, and he used a lot of the pro girls. And that's how we formed our friendship, and we've been friends for over 30 years.
Did you ever see the movie called The American Angels about women's wrestling in the 80s?
I've never seen that one.
Okay. Wasn't sure if they may have used you for a trainer on that, but I guess not. So what's your role in the current WOW product, and where can people find out more about it?
Well, they can go to our website, WOWE.com. We're on every Friday night on Access Television. You just have to check your local thing. I think it's 9 o'clock in Georgia, but it's early 6 o'clock in California. What else? What was the other question? What I play the roles in? I wear many hats. I'm David's right-hand person. We've been friends for over 30 years, so I train the girls. I help backstage. I help without saying too much and pulling the curtain back. I do a lot of everything.
Who are some of the big stars in WOW now for people that follow women's wrestling?
Well, we have Tessa Blanchard, and she's our world champion. We have a girl called the Beast, and she's going to be awesome. I think of the next China. I think China was awesome, and this girl is just phenomenal. You can look at her and tell she's got the it quality. Jungle Girl, who's been wrestling for about 15 years, she's very good. We've got Malaya Hosaka, Jessie Jones, which is Jessie Smothers, Abilene Maverick, which is Barbie Hayden on the independent scene. Santana Garrett works for us. We have over 40 girls that work in our company. So some of them are well-known pro indie girls, and then a lot of them are we call WOW homegrown girls that we train at the WOW training school in Long Beach, California.
And what are your thoughts on women's wrestling probably being at its all-time peak right now?
I've waited a long time for this. I'm 53 years old, and I've been watching and wanting to be a lady wrestler since I was 10 years old. So I'm very thankful. I feel very blessed to be my age and still be a part of something that I love so much. And I feel like it's well-deserved, and I appreciate all the respect that the women are getting nowadays.
And any advice to a female wrestler out there that might be watching this interview?
If you love it, you got to have a lot of love and a lot of passion. The fabulous Moolah did tell me one thing when I called her to go to her school when I was, a little bit too young to go. I was like 15 years old. And she said, in order to make it in this business, you got to love it. You got to live it, eat it, breathe it, drink it, sleep it. If you don't have that kind of passion, you'll never make it. And I stick to that because it's not an easy business to be in. It's not an easy industry, especially if you're a female. But I think that if you love something, where there's a will, there's a way, and dreams do come true. I'm living proof of that. I'm just a kid from Georgia that love wrestling, and tonight I'm getting an award, so dreams do come true.